All right, so I'm really excited to dig into Reddit. So there's a lot of different things that we can do with Reddit, a lot of information that we can grab. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to start by getting all of the Reddit subreddits. So I did some research ahead of time, and I know that this is the URL. Otherwise, you can just search through Google here. Let's get this crawler started. And this is the page we want to be on, so select I'm there, multiple search results. All right, let's get started. Okay, perfect. So select our first row. And then we'll probably get the point after that. Yep, good to go there. We've got 23 rows. Okay, it didn't capture these rows. Look, because the subscribe, unsubscribe is throwing it for a loop here. So let's make sure we add these as well. Got them. All right, now let's just grab important information. We'll just do subreddit link. Description. And then we're going to get the subscriber count. Okay, perfect. And then, I guess we can go ahead and get the started date for the community. So it says a community for 5 years here on this one. We'll grab this. It's probably going to require me to train a couple. Perfect. It looks like we got all of them. Okay, we've got what we need. We're going to move on to the next page now. Now you can start watching for the different patterns that start to show up. So count equals 25 and after, and then a random code. And so they kind of try to throw you off a little bit with this random code, but there are some ways that we can definitely get around this later. Okay, so we're on page 2. And now all we want to do is make sure that it grabs all the info that we want it to. So it's got 25 rows, so we know that it's grabbing all of the rows that are available, which is good. And it looks like it's getting all the data we wanted, so fantastic. Got what we need, and let's move on to the next page. Click add another page here, and I'm there. All right, we've got all 25 rows. Got all of the columns we need. And we're going to go to our 4th page now. Count is up to 75. And as you can see, this has kind of been changing every time. But we'll address the patterns a little bit later. Just good to pay attention to while you're running through this process. One more page. And I'm there. Alright, got all the rows we need, all the columns. So we're going to do some fun stuff with these subreddits. So one thing is we'll be able to go through and scrape a lot of information from the actual subreddit itself. Another thing is we can get all the names of the moderators and all the things that they're sharing, and also what other communities they're active in. We can use that as a way to get featured into this subreddit, to have them grab our information and start using it in this subreddit. Alright, so let's upload that info. We're just going to call it subreddits. Enter here. Alright, so let's get this going and move over to an advanced mode. So, because it appears that it throws out kind of some random stuff here on the end every time, but it does use T5 every time, we're just going to develop some templates down here that will kind of help us define where we should and should not crawl. So I'm just going to say only crawl on pages that are reddit.com/subreddits. We'll leave the page depth at 10 so that the crawler can be really thorough. And obviously the pattern here is 25 for the counts, and then the ampersand after equals T5 underscore. So we can put in some specific instructions for that as well. Now this just has it defined as a query string. I'm just going to go ahead and make it a little bit more exact so we can cut down on the amount of time that we spend, or that the crawler spends going through everything here. So we're going to do $count equals brackets num, which means that it'll be a number. Then we'll type out our ampersand after equals, and then I will do, instead of doing T5 underscore something, just in case the T5 element changes, I'm just going to do any. Right there. And that'll give it some better information on what pages to extract info from. And in fact, let's just do this as well up here. So we're telling it where to crawl, so it should identify on those pages the next place to go. So let's start it off and see kind of what we're dealing with here. Alright, so far it's kind of exploring and queuing up pages. So this is a little bit different experience than just doing the basic crawler, where you're sending a crawler through with a bunch of specific URLs that you want it to go to, because you're not sure exactly how long it's going to take, how many URLs it's going to find, because there was no kind of like paginated list that Reddit gave us to say, hey, this is 100 pages long or anything like that. So we don't really know exactly how many subreddits there actually are from at least the pages that we were looking at. It's possible you might explore and find that information out, which is always helpful. But right now we just kind of gave it some specific instructions on how to go about looking for all the subreddits that are out there. So it's found 275 of them, and it looks like a couple pages that it requested were actually not available. So that's interesting. At this point, all you can really do is let it run and see how long it takes to get to the end. So looks like we got to 400 there. So surprisingly enough, it's done. I didn't know if it was going to end or if I was going to have to actually pause the video, but good news is it's done. So let's take a look at the data. All right. So what I'm interested in is looking at some of the source page URLs. So what I'm going to do actually is download this as a CSV. call it subreddit.csv, and let me just pull that up. As you can see, I have a bunch of different scrapes on my computer here because I've been doing this for a while. Alright, so let's look at the source pages here. So what I'm looking for here is just to kind of look at the count and see what pages we got all the information from. So it looks like we got up to 250, 350 was the furthest page along. So interesting. Okay, great. So now we have a better idea for, how many actual subreddits there are. And here's our list of those subreddits. So we have a subscriber count right here. So we can actually just do a custom sort on this. And say based on subscriber count, largest to smallest. Let's just get a look at what this is. Okay, so the blog, and then the next biggest is politics, atheism. If we scroll down, we can see all of these other ones. So this is great. This is useful information for us, and what we're going to do in the next video is go to these subreddits and find useful nuggets of information that we can use to our advantage and how to get our content submitted to Reddit. So I'll show you some of these other strategies in the next video. Thanks.